in White Mark.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
In America, on air and on the World Wide Web, this is the Rob Carson Show.
This may be the only time that we ever race on the streets of Washington, D.C. What a celebration it has been of this championship, of this country, of everything that makes both of them great.
I know.
And what a driver we have in Kyle Kirkwood to bring it home for a famous victory. There will only be one winner of the Freedom 250, and how fitting that it's Kyle Kirkwood as the Secretary of Transportation waves the checkered flag. Kyle Kirkwood wins an American on the top step of the podium at the Freedom 250.
Man, oh man, oh man. That was fun yesterday, man. I want to tell you what. I went down. I didn't ride my bike down, actually. I was going to ride my bike down. I said, screw it. Nah, I'll ride the Metro. When I was walking to the Metro, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take an Uber. And we didn't have any trouble getting in and out. I got down there, I think, right about 10 minutes before the race started, just in time to see the stealth fighter fly over with a complement of F-22 Raptors. Oh, my gosh. It was so glorious. It was so glorious. And these guys, I don't know, they were from France or something, and they're like, that is a stealth bomber. And he's like, it's a stealth bomber. And the kids, stealth bomber. And that's an F-22 Raptor. That's an F-22 Raptor. Oh, my God. Whatever. And it was just so glorious. It was just so glorious. Now, I will tell you, I did not have tickets to the race. All right, so I did not get into the grandstand. Instead, it's kind of fun. And welcome to the show. Please come inside. Welcome. I'm really grateful that you're here. So please, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it more than you'll ever know. I mean that. So I go down there, I'm just walking around by myself, and I walk up to the vendor, and the vendor's selling $50 T-shirts, of course. And I asked the guy, I say, do you have that iconic, that kind of Art Deco poster that they've been putting up on the website? And they said, we don't. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody says, are you Rob Carson? And I went, are you federal authorities or the credit card company? I didn't really say that. But I said, yeah. And then this guy is like, oh, my God, this is Rob Carson. And he grabs his friend. And then, oh, my God, it's Rob Carson. Grabs the girlfriend. And, oh, my God, it's Rob Carson. Then a sister. And then all of a sudden, oh, my God, it's Rob Carson. 4 little ladies. I think they were Japanese. Oh, Rob Carson. Rob Carson from Newsmax. Oh, we love you. We love you. We love you. We want to get a picture. So I got pictures with all of them. Right, and we're hanging out there, and it's crazy because of these real Americans are coming in for these events, and a lot of them know me, and a lot of them know the Newsmax brand and all of that, and it was a blessing. So I ended up hanging out with 4 people I've never met for about 4 or 5 hours yesterday, both from West Virginia and Virginia. And just had a wonderful time walking around. Went up to the 3rd floor of the Modern Art Museum so we could look down on the track and see the cars. They had a safety perimeter, so if you didn't get a ticket, then you're not going to see the race unless you're up in a building way up high, because the distance you have to keep from the track was, there's a giant perimeter of safety. By the way, DC42 on Rumble says there were 7 flyovers, including AF1 with trailing formation, B52, B1 and B2. Well, I just got into the tail end of it, but it was something else. And the cars are not as loud as the Indy cars. That was one thing that I noticed. They're not as loud as Indy cars. They're pretty loud, but they're not as loud as Indy cars. We ended up walking around, and then we ended up going up to this little beer hall, and I of course wasn't drinking, but we got a ride on the back of this guy. This guy has a bike, and it's an e-bike, and he's got a basket in the back that can hold and seat 5 people. We had 5 people on this thing. This guy's pedaling his rear end off. He takes us there. You want to talk about making some money? $10 a person. He said, I'll get you there $10 a person. Guy made $50 for going maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks. Whatever, anyway. And then we went and we watched the race in there and just met some really damn good people. Really, really good people. People who listen to this show are down to earth and amazing people. And I'm just honored to have had their company. They knew a lot about me, and they were saying that they were praying for my health, which meant a lot to me. And this weekend, really pivoted into, the treatment that I'm going to be undergoing here. I got a wonderful note from Dr. William Mackus, who's prescribing his protocols for me. And I'll tell you, there's some people there writing me and saying, I've got a friend who has stage 4 cancer and all this. I can't be a doctor. I can't handle that. I can't handle that sort of responsibility because I'm not a doctor. Maybe I might be a little more of a doctor than Abdul El Sayed, but I'm not a doctor. What I would do is you just Google Mackus protocols, MAKIS protocols, and you handle it from there. He'll give you an idea of what you're going to need and the diet, the diet. I'm on this keto diet, And normally I don't like these diets. I don't like, I've done caveman, I've done cabbage soup all of the years, these stupid diets every year and whatever. But there is something to be said about the keto diet because sugar is your enemy. Cancer loves sugar. All right, cancer it devours sugar. If you get a PET scan, they put a sugar solution in your vein, and it goes right to the cancer, and the cancer goes, and it shows up, and then you can attack it and all that. So we did the DC rickshaw. It was a rickshaw. Exactly, it was Duke Shaw. His name was Duke. This guy's name was Duke. Check out my social media. I think I put it up on Instagram. Him, but he's a very entrepreneurial young man. It was so funny. So he says to us, $10 a person, 5 people. So, as he's getting ready to leave this place where we were hanging out, it's called the Astral Beer Garden or something. Anyway, as he's getting ready to leave, these 2 women and a son get on there, and he goes, it's $20 per person. It's $20 per person. So we got a discount, 5 for $10 a piece, and she was on there, $20 for 2 people. I just think it's fantastic. And he made some money yesterday. He made some money yesterday, and I give him a lot of credit for doing that. Here is Kyle Kirkwood, the winner of this glorious race, giving the Prezi a little shout-out.
It felt good to dominate out there, I'm not going to lie. That was a really good moment. I'm a fellow Florida guy. I live up in Jupiter, so it's cool to see him down here and right here in this race.
Yeah.
What an incredible place to do it. If you can't win at the 500, this is definitely the place to win, and I don't know if we're ever going to get another chance at this. I hope we do. This was awesome, but this was what a dream come true.
It was just something else. It was just something else, and there was so much good nature and joy there. I swear. Guys, I told you this, that I'm here to spread joy and patriotism and faith and to entertain, inform, and motivate people to do good. And it's really starting to crystallize more than it ever has in my entire life how important this is, and Democrats and Republicans are coming together. Actually, they're rejecting the evil of the Democrat Socialists of America. And by the way, there's nothing organic about that movement. It is not a popular movement. It is a bought and paid for movement, as much as Antifa. It is bought and paid for. It is not real. It is not popular. If you think that somehow after 2024 there are all of these people who are suddenly turning even further left than Kamala Harris, you're absolutely wrong. This is not real. We must defeat it. Don't get me wrong, but this is about as organic as AstroTurf. That's it. It's about as organic as a plastic straw. There's nothing real about it at all, and we're going to crush it. We are going to crush it. I was sitting talking to this one of the members of our party, and she said the words that I really hate. I hope about beating the DSA. And I said, I hope? You hope? I said, did Dwight D. Eisenhower tell the first wave that struck Omaha Beach on D-Day, I hope you guys win? Are you freaking kidding me? We are going to win. We are dealing with a bunch of adult children who've never held a gun, who want to get rid of the country as founded. They want to get rid of the Democrat Party. They are here if they have to take it over violently. I have, like what do they do? They're going to scratch us a little bit. A bunch of soy boys who can't bench press their own weight. You know, honestly, every one of these DSA, what's the word I'm looking for? Turds, who, you know, you take a coffee stir stick with 2 marshmallows, and they would need a spotter to bench that. Honestly, you are going to be so easy to crush because you know what? It is the 250th anniversary of our birth, the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews love our country. We just had a kick-butt race. We had a kick-butt state fair of all the state fairs here in Washington, D.C. We had the biggest fireworks display in the history of the world. We've got a brand new reflecting pool. All of the monuments are beautiful. America, it looked like an international city. A lot of the times you don't think about it. I've lived here 12 years and now another year. And I just think of it as Washington, D.C. And when I moved here, it looked like hell. It was a mess. And now it is a gem. It's cleaner than Paris. It's cleaner than Rome. It is absolutely stunning. And it's a metaphor for life after the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party is falling apart. They are falling apart and they are bankrupt. All of that. Now, I've got much more on the show today. We got special guest Doug Burns going to join us on the show. We got expert on everything China, Gordon Chang on the show today. Your calls if you want to call in, 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast.
Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to Newsmax.com/listen for details.
It is the Rob Carson Show, Monday, and wow, summer's coming to a close here pretty soon, isn't it? My gosh, can you believe it? You know, and fall comes around right about the right time, doesn't it? Fall comes around right about the right time, just when you kind of need it to cool down a little bit. I love me some summer, by the way. I absolutely love me some summer, but fall is one of my favorite seasons. I'm not much of a winter fan, and when I was growing up, when you grow up in Iowa on a farm, you'll hate spring because you're up to your knees in mud, and it's just awful. Oh, but the flowers are blooming. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and the driveway is knee-deep in mud, and you're going through mud everywhere you go. That's why I didn't ever like spring so much. I know it's kind of different. It's a little better when you live in the city. That said, it is coming to an end. Football season. I did not bring myself to watch a lot of football this week. I know there's preseason football going on, and I'm hoping maybe I find some friends to hang out and watch football with. But Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs, it's unofficially because it was a preseason game, but he kicked a 69-yard field goal.
It's not home, and he drilled it. He got this, I think. He absolutely got this. 69 yards? Are you kidding me, Coach? He'll kick your Butker, won't he? This guy's something else. Every time I come to town, Harrison Butker lights it up. I should be his agent. 69 yards? Are you kidding me?
69-yard field. Oh my gosh, absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to football season. You know, it's not with you don't have the family now. My wife and I really that was one great thing about her. She really loved football, and we enjoyed a lot of football. But it's coming. The season's coming. The most crushing economic operation ever against Iran starts today. It's economic D-Day. And, of course, Scott Bessent is a good part of this. It's kind of interesting because Iran's currency hit a record low Monday. And listeners, they have the rial. It's called the rial. And right now, if you're going to convert your rials to dollars, are you ready for this? 2 million rial. 2 million. That's how worthless their currency is. When you're at that point where your rial, 2 million of them make up a dollar, that's like Confederate money. That's worthless. You're taking wheelbarrows of cash to go buy a loaf of bread or whatever they sell in the Iranian markets, and this is going to hit them pretty major. They still bloviating there. They're still we're gonna give. Oh, what did they say today? They said something like they're going to attack the other Arab states and all this. With what? With what? You have nothing. Your Navy is now a scuba diving destination. That's your Navy. Honestly, your Army is shot. Your missile launching capability greatly diminished. We're on like the fourth generation of people leading the country to getting down to almost nobody running the dang country. And we're going to win. We're going to win. And Donald Trump, to his credit, says, you know what? I don't care about the I don't care about the midterms. That's pretty ballsy of a president to say, I don't care about the midterms, because Joe Biden would have, they would have already had a damn nuke. And they might have already nuked Jerusalem by now. If Kamala Harris were the president, things would have got a lot worse. And you know what? Our military has done such a brilliant job in this entire thing with very few casualties, and they deserve every ounce of credit in the world for a job incredibly well done. It's kind of funny when I'm riding in the car. There's a reporter here named Logan Raddick, and we live right across the street from each other. So I drive in. Buck, he normally does the Metro, and I hate the frickin' Metro. So I drive Buck in, and I roll down the windows. We're driving by the National Guard soldiers, and I yell, thank you, soldiers. And they wave back at me and all of that. And I'm sure he kind of goes, what the heck? And I saw a lot of them yesterday. I saw a lot of soldiers, and I shook a lot of hands, and I did a lot of fist bumps with them because our military is just absolutely remarkable. But this 2 million reals, can you believe 2 million reals is per dollar? To put it in perspective, okay? Think about this. If you're a Walmart shopper, okay? Think about spending full price at Whole Foods. Yeah, it's that bad. It's that bad. This is Jim Gusson.
The ceasefire with Iran is dead. Here's what we're gonna do instead. We're gonna block around the clock tonight. The blockade has no end in sight. We're gonna block the Strait of Hormuz day and night.
Hormuz, hello.
Ships we are not letting through. Communist China, that means you. We're gonna block around the clock for sure. It's more than they can endure. Around the blockade there is no detour. If you try to cross the strait, then you will seal your fate. We're gonna sink your ship to the ocean floor. You won't be sailing anymore. You're never ever gonna see the shore.
Come on.
How long will this blockade last? Should surrender, do it faster. We'll keep blocking the Hormuz Strait. Soon it's gotta be too late. We're gonna block. You must not hesitate.
Must not hesitate, ladies and gentlemen. Must not hesitate. Yep. I wish that we could get an unconditional surrender. I wish that every member of the IRGC were, taken out by the people who live in Iran, and this has taken much longer than I would have liked to have seen it happen. Obviously, but this president has been more deliberate than I could have ever imagined. He has been measured. He has built our military back. Recruitment is through the ceiling. People are proud to be in the military. There's no woke nonsense. There's no men in dresses in the military right now, which is great. And you know what I didn't see when I was downtown this weekend? You know what I did not see? A bunch of idiot counter-protesters. A bunch of morons from No Kings or a bunch of hands-off Iran protesters. There were none of them. And I think the reason being is they know they're losing. It's just noise. And if you look at all of these primaries this year, Donald Trump has, got a 98% success factor. You got this DSA. It's not real. It is absolutely, completely AstroTurf, bought and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. And they're beginning to realize they're losing. They're losing, and we are done suffering them as fools. We're done. We're finished. Coming up, the one and only, well, no, actually, it's next hour, Doug Burns. But I've got some wonderful news about how Angie Nixon's going to get her butt kicked in Florida. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson for Ghost Bed. You may not remember every time you toss, turn, or wake up hot, but your body does. That's why you wake up tired before the day even starts. That's why I got a Ghost Bed, the best bed in the history of mankind. Ghost Bed is engineered to help reduce the reasons your sleep gets interrupted. Ghost Bed is designed to relieve pressure, help regulate temperature, support your body. Cooling technology built into every mattress and made in the USA. With Ghost Bed's 101 night trial, you can try it at home because the real test of a mattress is how you feel in the morning. If you're waking up sore or tired before the day even starts, check out Ghost Bed. For a limited time during Ghost Bed's Labor Day sale, they're offering my audience an extra 10% off their lowest prices of the season. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and B, that you can trust it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, including mine, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years of doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I can still move furniture, I can still ride my mountain bike, I can still lift heavy weights, and Relief Factor makes all of those tasks pain-free for me. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us too. Again, ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF. It's the Rob Carson Show on a Monday, already the 24th of August. A lot of fall birthdays coming up. My birthday is October, by the way. You don't need to give me anything. That's all right. I have listeners coming in for a trip that we are doing October 25th through the 29th. So I'll probably take a day or two off to spend some time with my listeners. I'm traveling around the country. I've been invited to speak at a group of Republicans in St. Louis, oddly enough, and going to be doing that in a couple of weeks over the weekend. Some good friend of mine is big radio host in St. Louis. Haven't been to St. Louis in a while. Might even have a little little Ted Drew's. Maybe have a little bit of Emo's Pizza. Maybe something like that. Emo's Pizza, you either like it or you don't. I'll just tell you right now. Some people love it. I love it. Some people hate it. My ex-wife hated it. So there you go. That's the reason we got a divorce. There you go, right there. No. Florida Democrat Senate candidate Angie Nixon is cray-cray, just nuts. Repeatedly attacked immigration and customs enforcement, calling its officers thugs and kidnappers. I'm done with that crap, too, by the way. Calling these people who it's immigration and customs enforcement. The only thing they are doing is enforcing the law. That's it. And I swear to God, if you call ICE anything in front of me, you're going to get a little what fur. You're going to get a little what for, because I'm done with this crap. Calling them Nazis, calling them, whatever the hell. Somebody called them, who was it this weekend? So he says, oh, yeah, it reminds me of the slave, the people who rounded up the slaves. Oh, shut your mouth. You know what? You just, all you're doing is whizzing on the suffering of the past and using those who suffered to create some sort of false comparison when there is no comparison. I mean, honestly, how about shut up? Kidnappers, comparing the ICE detention facilities to modern-day concentration camps. Shut up. Shut up. terrorize our neighborhoods, acts like a rogue paramilitary force. No, it doesn't. The only people it terrorizes are people who should not be here in the first place. There you go. And then she went on to say, insinuate ICE might shoot people, right? She says, we're black. They gonna profile us too. It's actually they are. There is an apostrophe R-E. There. Yeah. You're making fun of how black people talk. Nah. I just wanted you to talk like so people can understand you. They can't tell. Oh, she did it right there. They can't tell the difference between a black American that is a descendant of slaves here in this country or someone from Jamaica or Nigeria. There was a big slave trade in Jamaica, by the way. I believe Sonny Hostin's ancestors took part in that. So there you go. They're going to racially profile us, and they're going to escalate things, and then they're going to shoot and kill us. And everything she just said there was absolute falderall, absolute, I don't even know what to call it. I'll just call it crap. Here she is saying that she is completely down with exactly what Joe Biden did, which is unbridled immigration across the southern border without any vetting.
And what about another national position, which is the free movement of people, which the DSA means open borders? They say that's what that means. Do you support open borders into the United States?
I support a comprehensive and clear pathway to citizenship for folks. I believe that Border Patrol should make sure that they are securing the border. I believe, though, that there needs to be a clear...
Well, did you say anything like that when the damn border was open for 4 years under Joe Biden? Did you say anything about that, sunshine? Or are you just saying it for the cameras? Because I think you're just saying it for the cameras, to be quite honest, because you don't believe any of this. More from Angie Nixon.
Comprehensive and compassionate pathway to citizenship, especially for folks like Haitians and Venezuelans and Syrians.
Okay, well, I don't know why you chose those three people, but, there you go. Honestly, Haiti sucks. How about stay in Haiti and fix the damn country? Just take a copy of the Constitution with you when you go back to Haiti and just fan it out there and realize that, when you lose your people, you're bleeding out your most valuable resource. So how about stop trying to make America like Haiti and go back and make Haiti kind of like America, because Haiti's always been a complete piece of crap. Here is Abdul El Sayed. Did you know he ran for governor in Michigan? Got his rear end kicked. He's going to get his rear end kicked here for Senate in Michigan, and he's for open borders too.
Would refugees be a part of this plan? Absolutely. I mean, people come here believing in the American dream, and nobody believes in that.
Yeah, I hate to tell you this there, Junior. All 5 feet 4 inches of you. It's always been that way. Yeah, you haven't rediscovered the wheel. You haven't discovered something new here. My ancestors, and a very good chance your ancestors, came here to become Americans, not Somali Americans. Not, 89% of the people from your country getting free welfare while continuing to wave your flag and espouse the wonderfulness of the armpit of the world that Somalia is. No, we came here and we became Americans.
Dream like refugees do, right? They're coming here because they believe in an America where they too can have a better life. And we as a country, I believe, owe it to the world to open our doors.
No, not at all. Not one little bit. We do not owe it to the entire world. Not one little bit. No nation in the world owes it to open their doors for unbridled immigration. That's absolutely false there, Junior. I'm going to give you a little pat on the head. And then a little swat on the butt with a ruler. And go sit down in your chair there, son. Go sit down in your chair right there. Oh, here's another one. Listen to this. This is Abdul El Sayed doing what they did right after 9/11 and saying that we caused the terror. We are the reason why radical Islam wants to perform a caliphate and take over the world. Of course, that's absolutely untrue, because Islam has been doing this since Islam was created. It's been trying to take over the world. The Crusades were actually a reaction to radical Islam by Christians because they were tired of being slaughtered.
I think the approach that we've often taken to terrorism has been to figure out how to leverage the might of the U.S. military to go in and root out, right, certain terrorist organizations, etc.
Yeah, that's what we do. We go in and we root out terrorist organizations and we kill them.
And where that's necessary, that's necessary.
Sure.
But I also think we need to be curious about why those things happen in the first place. Like, what drives someone?
It's because it's the radical side of Islam that requires you to become a member of the faith or get murdered.
To want to commit such a heinous act. Like,
It didn't start with us. It started way before us.
I have to be a student of people's pain. Like,
and your faith also has the highest number per capita of people who blow up stuff and kill people in the name of your faith. Just saying it.
That's what I did in medicine. That's what I try to do in politics. Like,
You're about as much a doctor as Jill Biden.
What happens when people are in pain? And I think that part of what we have to understand.
If you stopped making places like Gaza into a crap hole and made it into paradise, because it is, then you wouldn't have to worry about getting attacked by the United States or Israel.
And is that sometimes when we move, we create so much collateral damage because too often we have been on the wrong.
You know what else creates collateral damage? Flying some planes you hijacked into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, on a farm field in the middle of Pennsylvania. That's pretty collateral. That's pretty darn collateral. And did you know this is Mike Rogers? He's running against Abdul El Sayed Shalabim Skyhook, as Rush used to say. He refuses to condemn a terror attack where somebody tried to drive into a Jewish school and kill a bunch of kids.
You know, the weight of this, one isolated incident you might be able to explain away, but I worry that his rhetoric toward violence is getting to be problematic. You know, he couldn't even condemn the terrorist who filled his car with explosives, drove into a synagogue to kill 140 children.
Because he's not a big fan of the Jews.
He couldn't condemn it.
Yeah.
And so you have
Same with the Democrats, Social of America. They are anti-Zionist, which means anti-Semites.
This is so crazy, Katie. People on college campuses, it breaks your heart. Yeah. Young Jewish women were telling me they have to hide their stars when they walk to class, to go to class, because of this increased rhetoric and anti-Semitism on our college campuses and further. And his rhetoric only exacerbates that.
Yeah, and that sort of started after October the 7th. Again, it's AstroTurf, and so is the DSA. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
680 mobile app at WCBM.com.
Oh, yeah, baby. When I was in the rickshaw in downtown D.C. yesterday, the guy pedaling had AC/DC playing loud. He had speakers in it. It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. I love it. Love. All right. I got a lot of things on the plate today. I'm for the first time in a while, I actually took the weekend kind of off. Normally up Sunday morning at 7 a.m. whatever, and on the computer doing show prep and watching the morning shows and grabbing video and audio and all that stuff. And yesterday I just said, you know what? I'm going to just chill out a little bit. And then went downtown, worked out Saturday, went to King Street in Old Town Alexandria. Just really took in people. Just really took in people and started random conversations with all sorts of people, and really enjoyed it. And yesterday when I was on the National Mall and I met so many people who listened to the show or watched the TV show, it was really something else. It was a little overwhelming. This is getting bigger, big time. Really getting a lot bigger. Rush Limbaugh was 37 years old when he was discovered. Glenn Beck was 37 when he was discovered. I was discovered at 54, and right now at my age, people are really starting to know who I am. So with that, comes some responsibility. When I originally signed with Newsmax, I worried about the possibility of negative reaction from people when you're a national media figure and all of that. But I'm going to tell you something. With what I'm dealing with now, my medical condition and all that, I haven't been trolled, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm really thankful for that. That means a hell of a lot. And you know what? I've just met so many good people, and have received so much positivity from them. And I'm going to turn this into a positive for people who are suffering. And I want you to be my army for that. We're together on this, spreading joy and faith and patriotism, using prayer to help heal and all of that. It's going to be a really big part of the show. Not necessarily, come to church every day on the Rob Carson show, nothing like that. But it is important. Ken Martin is the head of the DNC. They're in such bad shape they had to put up the DNC headquarters for collateral for a loan. And this moron, he says that, and basically he said, the Democrat Party will take anybody who will get them elected. This includes, they would include Nazis. What do you think that Graham Plattner was? Really? Generally, you put on a Nazi tattoo, kind of means you lean into that a little bit, a little bit there, honestly. And he hasn't learned a damn thing. Listen to this fool. They will allow anybody. They don't care. They don't care if you're a Maoist supporting Chairman Mao who killed 70 million people. They don't care. They will take anybody they can. And this is why 80% of you Democrats are going to cleave away from people like this.
Will the socialism label pose larger challenges for general election campaigning in Florida? Or has Angie Nixon proved that, hey, her grassroots base is active, it's engaged?
She didn't, she won, but she was running against a moron.
It's large enough for November.
Well, clearly she showed that she could win. And that's what matters the most at the end of the day for us. As much as
man, I hate the expression "at the end of the day." Don't ever use that expression around me. I hate it.
Republicans are going to try to make a big deal out of this.
Well, of course we are, because she's a freaking socialist, and the DSA, they say they are a socialist, but their goal is communism.
I've always said there's more that unites us in this party than those differences. And yes, we are a big tent party. We have conservative Democrats, we have centrists, we have progressives, and we have leftists.
And we have leftists. Leftists are communists. Do you hear that, Democrats?
And as far as I'm concerned, all are welcome. As I've always said, you win through addition, not through subtraction. You win by growing your coalition, not shrinking it.
You win by addition, not by subtraction. My God. Talk about speaking in bumper stickers. On the other side of the break, a DSA panel, one of many, says to Ken Martin, essentially, when we get in the tent, we're going to kill you. I'm serious. I'm going to share that on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello, everyone. How are you? So what do we got here? What are you guys talking about here? Bacon is a staple here, and since we started baking over parchment on a roasting rack, Diane has turned it into an art form. BLT on Texas toast. You know what I made this weekend? I made beef ribs. I did beef ribs in the indoor smoker, and they're ridiculous. They are ridiculous. They're like the Flintstones ribs at the end of the credits that tip the car over. And I put a big rack of beef ribs sliced in 3, 5.5 hours, 250, rubbed hickory. I would use pecan, but I don't have any pecan. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then on Saturday, I made pesto. If you guys get a chance to, put up on my social media the video where I did pesto. I made probably a gallon of good pesto. And had a delightful conversation with my viewers. So all of my social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Truth, Getter, X, all of them have that up there. If you want to check it out, it's kind of fun. But these beef ribs, if you can do beef ribs beautifully, if you can do beef ribs, it's like eating steak on a stick. It's like eating steak on a stick. Or your mother's roast beef on a stick. Phenomenal. 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 And I just enjoyed. 680
WCBM has been helping Maryland businesses for over 102 years, helping you reach an engaged audience of business in response to your strong messaging. With radio,
I just like the process, and better yet, I like the reaction that comes from people when you give them something you made. Making a Casers, my bet. What is that? Casers, I have no idea. Here we go, I got to talk. Dig it.
At the end of the day, for us, as much as the Republicans are going to try to make a big deal out of this,
yeah, we are.
I've always said there's more that unites us.
Yeah, we consider this a war, by the way.
In this party than those differences. And yes, we are a big tent party. We have conservative Democrats. We have centrists.
I doubt you have the ability to pitch a tent, if you know what I mean.
We have progressives and we have leftists. And as far as I'm concerned,
really? Well, what do the DSA say about that? Their old Kenny. What do they say about it?
We have seen that the Democratic Party establishment that we have has to be ripped out. We can actually start to grab hold of the ship of state and steer it in our direction, but it's going to be a violent process.
Our country needs to change, and this Democratic...
No, it doesn't. You can go friggin' live in Cuba because we're going to beat your butts.
Party needs to change. I was more than glad to go on Hassan's stream. This is we need as Democrats, we need to go into these spaces.
There you go. So they are in the tent and they want to take over, even if it means violence. There, Kenny, you better be ready for it. Here's Democrat Representative Jake Auchincloss saying commies are welcome.
So some in your party say it's big tent. There's room for the DSA. What's your position?
2/3 of Americans, Shannon, are fed up with this administration, the most corrupt in American history.
That's absolutely a lie. The most corrupt was Joe Biden. He got $35 million from the Chinese Communist Party into 27 LLCs. 9 family members received the money. They didn't pay a damn bit of a tax on it. He also stole classified and top secret documents by the thousands, and his son got a no-show job at a Ukrainian oil company, and we sent them $250 billion for a war that we weren't a part of.
And for Democrats to take back the House and Senate and to put checks and balances on this administration, we need to welcome in voters of all stripes.
Yeah, okay, well, good luck with that, because if I'm not mistaken, and let's just listen to the kids of the DSA panel just a second ago. Let's just listen to them, see what they have to say about what they want to do with you guys, because you say, welcome to the tent.
We have seen that the Democratic Party establishment that we have has to be ripped out.
Uh-oh.
We can actually start to grab hold.
I bet they mean that to you, Jake Okencloss and Ken Martin.
Hold of the ship of state and steer it in our direction, but it's going to be a violent process.
A violent process, meaning they espouse violence, you see.
Our country needs to change, and this Democratic...
No, it doesn't. You could go make your socialist workers' paradise in some armpit place somewhere, because we're not going to let you change it.
Party needs to change. I was more than glad to go on Hassan's stream.
Yeah, Hassan Piker made fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination over the weekend. Yeah, really funny, making fun of a father and a husband having his neck splayed open by an assassin's bullet. That's real funny. And by the way, Abdul El-Sayed glad-handed him the night before he barely won his elections as Democrats failed attempt at a late-term abortion allowed him to become the senatorial candidate from Michigan. And he's going to lose. There you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
Hold it now. Live from Newsmax Studios in Washington, D.C., the most interesting, informative, and funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Successful Freedom 250 Grand Prix on the streets of D.C. yesterday. It's back to work for the Trump administration today. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is set to announce these new sanctions just 2 hours from now, just around the corner at the Treasury Department at 1 o'clock Eastern. Perhaps a preview of some of his remarks. The Treasury Secretary taking to X, posting the following. We are now entering the end game. At dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. Under President Trump, that era is over, and those who fear the danger of defying Tehran ought not to discount the cost of testing Washington. Now, the naval blockade remains in effect today. The Vanguard, those two carrier strike groups, USS George H.W. Bush and the USS George Washington, who just arrived in theater from the Pacific with Lincoln heading home after more than 250
Doesn't sound like he's messing around, does it?
consecutive days at sea without a port call. President Trump has said the U.S. is close to a deal with Iran dozens of times over the past nearly 6 months of this conflict.
There you go. And by the way, Scott Bessent is doing a presser right now. I don't have the ability to grab that right now, but I'm sure he is going off. It's kind of interesting to see the Treasury Secretary really kind of almost like a military operation. And this is a big deal. This is a big part of it. And it does the least to harm the infrastructure, the power grid, and all of that. So the people of Iran will be able to survive after this is all over. And I hope that you are praying for the freedom of the people of Iran. I mentioned a doctor the other day that I met with is a son of Iranian expats who escaped after the Ayatollah took over. That's kind of interesting. And my doctor in Kansas City is he escaped the Ayatollah there. So there you go. It's kind of weird, right? Hopefully we will see a day when people can celebrate the freedom. Remember when we first struck? Do you remember the reaction of Iranians and Persians around the world dancing in the streets in places like France and in Canada and all of that, and very little of that in America and the media? It's really a damn shame that the leftist media can't celebrate the possibility of freedom for a generation of people. You've got literally 2 generations of women have grown up in Iran, completely subjugated. And, wouldn't it be nice if they lived in freedom? But they can't bring themselves to support that because Donald Trump will get credit for it. And it's the same way with everything. It's getting so damn tired. They had by the way, the Supreme Court said, go ahead and build the ballroom, and how about sit down and shut up, you federal judges, doing this idiotic crap. It really is. It's just getting old. We've been doing this damn crap for 10 friggin' years, and I'm really sick and tired of it. And like I said, I'm not suffering fools anymore. When I'm not having a conversation about how Donald Trump is a Nazi or whatever. Shut up. I have no time for you anymore. And the only thing I have is the time to beat you in November. That's what I have time for, and we're going to. You've got to believe. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. There you go. Left-wing Guardian paper freaking out. Trump laying the groundwork for securing America's elections. National security emergency may be coming. Yeah, why not? I mean, look. I would never say that maybe there was some fraud in California's L.A. mayoral elections, but it sure was kind of weird. It follows a pattern that Democrats have been doing for a while now. And then they let all those illegal aliens in. Then we found out last week, nationally, tens of thousands of illegal aliens have been registered to vote. It's like it's a plan or something. Of course it is. Of course it is. The Guardian today this is according to, what was it? The Gateway Pundit. The Guardian is shrieking today. Donald Trump is sowing election distrust and laying the groundwork to declare a national emergency ahead of the 2026 elections. No, the distrust happened in 2020 when you all stopped voting, counting in all the swing states, and all the votes came in the next day, largely for Joe Biden. That kind of did it right there for us. And if you were on the receiving end, you'd still be freaking out too. There you go. The first time in years, the American people finally seeing the receipts. The Trump administration releasing government records about non-citizen voting in places like, Michigan? New Jersey. Foreign interference, vulnerable election systems, serious failures involving state voter rolls. The paper pointed to Trump's July address on election security no one paid attention to, where he declassified intelligence documents showing that the Chinese Communist Party had a mountain of intelligence documents with as many as 220 million U.S. voter files, names, addresses, phone numbers, the whole deal. You and me, yours is on there. Yours, most guaranteed, is on that list. Yes, sir. And the media didn't think that was important to cover. Maybe you ought to watch Newsmax. The White House Government Transparency Task Force laid it out clearly, the largest compromise of election data in history. Adversaries like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have the capability to target our election infrastructure. Non-citizen registration in the hundreds of thousands were flagged by the DHS. Voting machine vulnerabilities were highlighted. The deep state tried to bury it for years. Trump would put it all over the table. Steve Bannon predicted Trump will declare an emergency to protect the upcoming elections. Take out your number 2 pencils. It's coming. Just block the last week of August out. It's coming. That's what Bannon said, and I believe Steve Bannon. I do believe him, and I think we should, because honestly, if you think that the voting system in this country is safe and secure, and that Republicans don't get screwed over, you're smoking some serious weed. Yeah, and you know what? We're tired of being on the receiving end of it and having you, the media, call us crazy or call us conspiracy theorists and all of that bullcrap. Because you did that for a while. It was Brandon Gill. Brandon Gill was on with Maria Bartiromo's show. She was not on yesterday. I had a fill-in host there. The Biden administration censored everything, and this included our thoughts about 2020 election. My Facebook page and my hundreds of thousands of followers disappeared the day after the election in 2020. No reason, no recourse. It was gone. The same went for thousands of other conservatives around the country, and they censored all conservative speech for a couple of years, shadow banning us, demonetizing us, and taking us down altogether. Here is Brandon Gill yesterday talking on Maria Bartiromo's show.
The most offensive portion of all of this is not just the fact that they lied to the American people, not just the fact that they deliberately withheld information, that they did so illegally, that they used private emails as opposed to official emails so that the American people didn't know what they were seeing, what the risks of some of the COVID remedies, potential remedies were. I think the most offensive part about this is that this entire time, if any American spoke out against COVID lockdowns, against the COVID vaccine, against where, or spoke openly about where COVID actually originated from, they were not only kicked off of social media, not allowed, of course, on left-wing media outlets, but oftentimes were virtually shunned from civil society for saying the things that these government officials oftentimes knew about, but were hiding from the American people. I mean, this is as tyrannical as it possibly gets, and people's lives were ruined with this, and these people ought to be held accountable.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about how an entire generation of kids were ruined. My son is just now getting over 2 years of his college was taken away from him. 2 years of socialization, 2 years of in-class learning. They didn't cut the price of the tuition. My daughter had half of her high school career completely destroyed. I want people to pay for it. I want people to go to friggin' jail. I want them to go to jail. Here is Brandon Gill talking about, Anthony Fauci and his compatriots, all those people who got auto-pen pardons and what he might do about it.
I think most Americans, whenever they hear auto-pen pardon, kind of take a step back and wonder what in the world is going on in Washington. How is the president signing pardons, or who is signing pardons on the president's behalf? Somebody who didn't get elected, oftentimes without the president's knowledge or without the president's full knowledge. So I think there's absolutely a legitimate case that we ought to test these auto-pen pardons, the legality of these in court. Let the courts decide that, but we ought to put the effort in to actually bring that forward, because the American people are so sick.
You can't pardon people if they haven't been charged with a crime.
Of this stuff. They're so sick of a lack of accountability. And let me tell you, whenever unelected bureaucrats are signing pardons on the president's behalf, there is by definition no democratic accountability, and that has to change.
Yeah, here's one other thing from Brandon Gill, talking about what happens after the midterms when we retain and grow our advantages in both houses.
I think that the path for Republicans is to continue doing some of the things that we did last year in the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, where we instituted the biggest mandatory spending cut ever in American history, ever. It was about $1.5 trillion. That had never been done before. And I think that's just a start. Our goal now is to make sure that we win these midterm elections so that socialists who could care less about the federal debt or deficit don't get in charge, so that we can then come back to Washington and implement, through probably reconciliation, more large spending cuts to ensure that our children and that our grandchildren don't not only inherit a national debt, but don't inherit an economy that is completely in tatters.
Yeah, we need to get rid of this damn $40 trillion debt. It's ridiculous. It was the only issue I had with Trump's first term. We need to do it in the and get this ball rolling in the second term. By the way, I rode in Uber yesterday a couple times, and I'm hearing this more and more. And I say, what do you think of Trump's no tax on tips? And this woman yesterday was driving me. She goes, I don't get tips very often. I said, that's bull crap. If you ride Uber and you're not tipping, you need to tip. All right? After you get out of that ride, you need to give them a tip. I'm just going to say that right. I know most of you probably do. Some of you don't, but you should. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
hammer rejoin.
But in most places on earth, they believe that your rights come from your government and from your laws. But ours was founded on the belief that your rights come from your Creator and from God.
Well, and look, that's just one small piece of it. We have different entities. You know, I've broken every fundraising record there ever is for any speaker, any Republican leader in history. I'm not the greatest fundraiser in the world, Peter. It's that people understand the stakes are so high. They understand this is not a midterm like those we've had in the past. This will determine the fate of the Republic, no kidding. If somebody told us 10 years ago that on the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world, we'd be in an open contest to determine whether they're going to keep with the Republic or go down this other road, I wouldn't have believed it, but that's where we are, and that people understand that.
We are not going down that road. There are 100 million of us who are better armed intellectually and physically. We are not going to let America fall to these spoiled, entitled children. They're going to get the spanking of their life. Here is Anna Paulina Luna this weekend, talking about and I said this from the very beginning. I said, remember after October the 7th, there were all these anti-Israel protests. I said, this is not natural. This is not real. Do you remember the last, 6 years, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a lot of children decided to change genders out of nowhere? I said the same thing. This is not organic. Somebody's doing this. I'm assuming all of it is associated with the Chinese Communist Party. Disinformatio was clearly Soviet. The tearing down of our statues and the burning of our cities and the demonization of the police and erasure of history, that was all from Mao. The anti-Semitism comes from Hitler. It's all been done before. Anna Paulina Luna says the DSA is not organic. They are 100% bought and paid for. Doesn't mean they're less of a threat. But as far as people buying this, no. The people who are buying this and preaching it are being paid by the Chinese communists.
Earlier this year, the Department of Justice announced that they have a full-fledged investigation and are convening a grand jury on an individual named Neville Roy Singham, who is a tycoon that is currently living in China that's been funneling over $780 million, Jason, that's a big number, into various political organizations, grassroots organizations,
and the Democrats are fine with it.
That are ultimately working hand in hand with the Democrat socialists. And I'd like to remind the viewers that Neville Singham is a devout and proclaimed Marxist and socialist. And so this is not organic in any way, shape, or form. But what's crazy and alarming, and you would probably agree, being that you were a House member, is that one of the main platforms for the DSA is indeed not just to literally redistribute wealth, but also they want to abolish the Senate.
Yeah.
So if anyone
we're not going to let that happen, because we'll fight you first and we'll win.
Thinks that this woman is a moderate and that she's somehow distancing herself from the DSA platform, understand
she's talking about Angie Nixon, the bat crazy one,
that the DSA platform works hand in hand with the Communist Chinese Party. Her even own organization, DSA, the people that she associates with in New York City are again tied to, literally via familial ties, to Neville Roy Singham. So this is not organic by any way, shape, or form.
Nope, not one little bit, and we're going to beat it. Here is Anna Paulina Luna talking about Angie Nixon and this David Jolly, who's running for governor against Byron Donalds, and he's going to get his butt kicked big time too.
Well, I think Florida in general wants common sense, and I think Byron Donalds especially bringing out the governor's down-ballot race against contrasting with David Jolly. I think that we're actually in very good shape, but I actually predicted this, that Angie Nixon being the nominee, at least in the state of Florida, will bring Republicans out to vote specifically against her because of the fact that they don't want her radical policies. And I'd also like to remind people that the DSA platform is also very much so anti-white rhetoric and racist. We have their nominees in, for example, New York that made not just anti-white, but also anti-Semitic comments.
Yeah, listen to this. This is Angie Nixon talking, making up statistics about how white men make so much more money than everybody else.
Everything wasn't equal because women have still been getting paid
80-something cents.
That's a myth, you see, because men do jobs that pay more, like high-rise welder or, working on an oil rig. A lot of the times women work in lower-paying jobs like elementary school teacher. That's just the way it is. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
On the dollar.
If you could pay a woman 80% of what you'd make a man made at a job for the same job, there would be no men being employed in companies around the country. Duh.
Of a white man. And so you definitely just have to work.
I know a lot of poor white men. I was one.
To level the playing field. And you gotta you gotta close these corporate tax loopholes. You have to put the DEI.
Oh, that's a dirty word.
Policies back.
Yeah, no, DEI was an absolute bunch of crap. Here is Jim Gossett as Al Sharpton singing about Angie Nixon.
Angie Nixon, a cop killer, she will quote.
She did, yeah, she did. It's gross.
Angie, radical Angie, she's going for the felon vote.
Ruh-roh.
Why would she? Nobody knows. Take her children to drag shows.
Yeah, she was into that.
She wants ICE agents put in jail.
I know.
Angie. Dangerous Angie.
Nutbag Angie.
With her view, she's bound to fail.
Come on.
Angie Nixon, she's a fan of DEI. Angie, volatile Angie, hates police, and so do I.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett as Al Sharpton. If you want to help out Jim, go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy, patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. He'll send you 2 parodies every darn day. My gosh, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Speaking of amazing, Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, going to join us on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. Doug took Relief Factor for nearly a year before convincing his wife, a special needs teacher, to try it. She had been using assistance just to move through the long hallway at school. Now she's back on her feet every day. Never had to leave the job she loves. I can attest to this. I ride my mountain bike every weekend from 30 to 50 miles. I lift weights, and I'm lifting heavier than I did when I was 30 without pain. People like Doug make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. ReliefFactor.com or 1-800-4RELIEF. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and B, that you can trust it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, including mine, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years of doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I can still move furniture, I can still ride my mountain bike, I can still lift heavy weights, and Relief Factor makes all of those tasks pain-free for me. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us too. Again, ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF.
Earlier this year, the Department of Justice announced that they have a full-fledged investigation and are convening a grand jury on an individual named Neville Roy Singham, who is a tycoon that is currently living in China that's been funneling over $780 million, Jason, that's a big number, into various political organizations, grassroots organizations that are ultimately working hand in hand with the Democrat Socialists. And I'd like to remind the viewers that Neville Singham is an devout and proclaimed Marxist and socialist. And so this is not organic in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, not organic in any way, shape, or form. It is not popular. It was beaten in November of 2024. It makes absolutely zero sense. You can try to explain it away. Oh, it's Gen Z. The Gen Z, they want to be, put people in body pits like Mao and Hitler and all. No, not so much. It's all bought and paid for. And I want to ask Doug Burns, this former federal prosecutor, Doug Burns, first of all, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, thanks, Rob.
I went to a pretty kick-butt car race here in Washington, D.C. this weekend.
Yeah, that must have been awesome.
Oh, my gosh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Anyway, so Neville Singham clearly has been, he's coming up with money. He's funding the DSA, among others, presumably also Antifa, George Soros as well. The DOJ is looking at him. What can they do about him?
Well, apparently the investigation began, looking into like Foreign Agents Registration Act stuff, foreign influence in U.S. Elections, and now it's expanding apparently into a probe over whether money was unlawfully funneled through, nonprofits the guy controls, and whether he lied on forms for those nonprofits, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a serious investigation, and subpoenas have gone out, and it's a serious matter.
What can they do about getting him, or can we just shut down his finances?
Well, if they find criminal wrongdoing, they would bring charges against them. But short of that, they might be able to, scare him to the point where he's going to stop doing it. It's hard to say. Apparently this is very preliminary, and we'll see what happens. But, there's definitely something to be extremely concerned about,
Well, yeah, I wonder if we could use economic leverage to get China to extradite him to the United States?
Oh, no, it's a very good point, of course. Extradition, I've been in a bunch of extradition cases. They're actually very interesting because they're more diplomatic through the State Department than they are through the Department of Justice. DOJ writes up the request and, packages it all up, signed, sealed, with a bow on it, with the evidence and so forth. But then the State Department presents the request to the other country, and it's way more practical and diplomatic than it is legal. Mm-hmm. And the point is, there's all kinds of escape clauses in the extradition treaties that they don't have to hand over their own citizens. But this individual, I think, is an American.
He is.
Yeah, so that's not in play. And as you say, you definitely have those intangible factors about what's really going on between the two countries and so forth. to answer your question.
Brandon Gill was being interviewed this weekend on Maria Bartiromo's program about auto pen pardons. I want you to hear this and then get your reaction.
You know, I think most Americans, whenever they hear auto pen pardon, kind of take a step back and wonder what in the world is going on in Washington. How is the president signing pardons, or who is signing pardons on the president's behalf? Somebody who didn't get elected, oftentimes without the president's knowledge or without the president's full knowledge. So I think there's absolutely a legitimate case that we ought to test these auto pen pardons, the legality of these, in court. Let the courts decide that, but we ought to put the effort in to actually bring that forward, because the American people are so sick of this stuff. They're so sick of a lack of accountability. And let me tell you, whenever unelected bureaucrats are signing pardons on the president's behalf, there is by definition no democratic accountability, and that has to change.
Now, Carl Higbee brought up a brilliant point a couple weeks ago about how can you pardon someone when charges haven't been brought? That is absolutely illegal.
Well, not necessarily. I love Carl. A lot of respect for him and stuff, but he's not a lawyer. So the point is, it's somewhat unclear. Just hear me out. It all started, honestly, with Gerald Rudolph Ford when he issued the pardon to Nixon. He did that when there were no charges pending, and it wasn't really tested anywhere in court. And Carl could ostensibly be proven right. I think that's a good choice of words. Yeah. But the reality is that it's not a strict no-no. You don't need an official charge. A lot of times people say, oh, doesn't the person have to be convicted already? That's usually the practice, Rob, obviously. But at the same time, you can give a preemptive one. Here, they went way, way, way too far, okay, and it's absolutely absurd. Dr. Fauci and Hunter Biden, all these wide-sweeping pardons. Now, to Brandon Gill, very important, because, the difference between political talk and legal talk. Again, he's making an assumption, and he's probably right, but it's an assumption. And he goes, people who weren't authorized signed it. We don't really know that. But the point is, where I totally agree with him, is I've been saying all along, and other legal experts have said, if you brought a charge against Anthony Fauci, I think I told you this, and your audience, then they would turn around and say, you can't do that. He was given a pardon, and then that's the perfect opportunity to test it in court and prove that the pardon was invalid, and it was done without Biden's authorization, and so on. Not the easiest thing to prove, but it can be done, believe me, because people who get approached by federal law enforcement, subpoenas, grand jury subpoenas, a lot of them flip and cooperate and so on, and you might be able to just put that together. Because I'll tell you right now, after 41 years of practicing law, I'm pretty good at guessing, and it's not even a guess to say that a lot of that auto pen stuff almost undoubtedly was not proper.
100%. This is a couple weeks old. We saw that Francesca Hong was defeated, but on Monday before the election in the state of Wisconsin, she had a 95% chance of winning. She was ahead by 20 points. Now, a purported polling firm that released results in the final days of the Democrat primary for Wisconsin governor has now revealed their survey was fake and created as a social experiment. Unlike the Los Angeles mayor's race, the poll does not appear to have been reported widely, if at all, in Wisconsin or cited by campaigns, but a firm called Median Strategies released the poll claiming Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass was leading by a wide margin. Her campaign cited the numbers in social media. Now, Median Strategies reported these extremes with regard to these two races, and now we're just saying it was a social experiment to see which media bit. Are they in trouble for this?
That's pretty disgraceful, of course. The point is, it's like every single, legal case that you and I discuss, which is that, hey, if they intentionally put out into the public sphere, for lack of a better description, some kind of poll, knowing that it was going to have some kind of effect one way or the other, that actually could be criminal fraudulent conduct, no question about it. I mean, again, broken record, you need specifics, emails, texts, witnesses, et cetera, but again, there's a lot of dirty pool that goes on, obviously, and the public's starting to see it, a lot of manipulation. I mean, what went on the West Coast, I mean, I was just like hitting the replay button from other situations we've seen, and that is that, this guy Pratt, was right in there, and then all of a sudden they go into like a 2-week slow motion death freeze. It was just embarrassing.
Yeah, and then in Alaska, there was somebody who had the same name as another candidate inserted into the race. I'm trying to remember this one.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah.
And he had two guys
Ryan
with the
McKenzie.
identical name.
No. Was it Brian McKenzie?
No,
or Bob?
it wasn't McKenzie.
Was it Bob Brooks?
No,
I can't remember.
Bob Brooks was a good guy on Newsmax.
Well, it's two Dan Sullivans on the ballot.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan's, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I'll see you and raise you, as they say in poker. When I was in law school, I'm not joking, we studied a case where a political candidate changed his name, Rob, drum roll, to none of the above. None of the above.
Yes.
Seriously. He changed his name in court, and that was his name, none of the above. And the case was litigated because he was going to be last on the ballot. Isn't that great? But the point is, I believe, and I'm rusty, it was only 40 years ago, giving away my age.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think it was invalidated. But on the Sullivan thing, this is interesting because a couple months ago, it was great. One of their research firms or campaign firms came up with a great thing. And because one of the guy's middle initials was S and the other one was L. I'm just making this up.
Yeah.
So they go with the solid guy, Dan S. Don't go with the lousy guy, Dan L. And it was a cute approach. But the point is, where does that stand right now? Sorry to ask you a question, but
I haven't checked on it. I was just curious about it. Hey, if I run for office to appeal to men and women, I'm going to change my name to Steak and Chocolate Cake. That's what I'm going to do. Let's take a break and come back. I want to ask you about the Lindsay Clancy case. I have not talked about it. I just want to know your thoughts on it. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Here's the deal. The government...
think we're, as an agency looking at a number of different complementary, policies and programs, grants, incentives that can come alongside these grocery stores to support other, local independent businesses that are in the neighborhoods. We're going to continue to listen, and we're going to continue to engage, and I'll be, alongside the operator as our partner, and like I said, making sure that we are complementary to the other businesses that are here in the neighborhood.
So that's the head of the socialized grocery stores in New York City. She's a dimwit academic child. And Doug, I know you probably heard this. These little grocers are going, it's not fair that you're going to be cutting prices 30%, and we can't compete with that. So her solution is to make things even more complicated and give subsidies to the grocery stores that can't lower their prices 30%. They are creating a massive Charlie Foxtrot that's completely unavoidable. What do you think?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, it is a total cluster. You know what?
yes.
I got the Charlie reference.
Yes.
But no, I mean, look, this guy, he's in a tough box because he has to pander all over the place. In other words, he comes up with this wonderful idea. I'm being sarcastic about, government grocery stores. Then all of a sudden it dawns on him, wait a minute, what about all of the hard-working bodega people, deli owners, small grocery store owners, and then all of a sudden he has to tap dance like Fred Astaire. So the point is, people wiser than I, all the great experts, Victor Davis Hanson at the highest level, and others, and you, Rob Carson, have said this is not going to work, period.
It's just stupid. Honestly, you just open a damned food bank.
Exactly.
It's not absolutely idiot. You've already got food stamps. You've already got other programs. This is just, honestly, this is giving the keys to the school bus to a first grader. That's what we're seeing here. What about the ballroom? The ballroom, apparently the Supreme Court said, knock it off. Let him build the damn ballroom. What's going on there with Trump?
Yeah, what happened was I found out something very interesting on the way to the forum. That played ahead on the way to the forum. But anyway, no, joking aside, when the lower court, so-called in air quotes, blocked it, a little bit of scholarship, a little bit of studying revealed that was like a headline grab by the judge, because in the opinion, he said, even though I'm quote-unquote blocking it, you can continue to build underground, and you can continue to build above ground where national security is implicated, where the safety of the president is implicated. So the fact of the matter is, it really did not have the kind of teeth that the way it was reported on. Now the Supreme Court put in an administrative stay. Bottom line, save time here. It's going to be built.
No kidding. It's just stupid. All right. I haven't devoted a lot of time to the Lindsay Clancy case. If somebody asked me about it this weekend, what do you think? And I said, sometimes I don't have to have an opinion on something.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
when I see this, I don't think it's just postpartum. I think she was on a cocktail of all of these drugs, and I think, if anything, some people need to be held accountable. The doctors who put her on that crap.
No, as usual, you got right to the heart of the case. This is a case, and I have been covering it a ton. This is a case where the system failed, obviously, big time. Jurors come into the building, seriously, with just basic common sense, and I'm very pro-jury, very positive about jurors, seriously, after years and years of doing trials. And the fact is, most jurors are going to start with the basic proposition that no mother in their right mind is going to do that, obviously. And then you do have a lot of testimony saying she was a good mother, this, that, and the other thing. I'm not defending her. I'm not condemning her. I'm just telling it the way I see it. And the reality is, you hit it on the head, because all this stuff about, she's insane, forget that. What happened was the medical community completely failed her. She was on all kinds of different drugs, and it just turned into a tragic medical scenario.
What's really sad is the children couldn't be saved, even though all of the signals were there that she was a danger to them.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and we see this all the time in slightly other contexts. The gun case in Connecticut, where the mother, leaves the gun in plain, access, et cetera, et cetera. And there is accountability beyond the actors themselves. Case is very tragic. She tried to kill herself right after that. And pure legal X's and O's, and everybody can pardon the insensitivity. This is what we lawyers do for a living. The point is, you can argue on the one hand that shows that she was absolutely crazy, she tried to kill herself, but you can flip that right on its head and say, no, that shows that she knew what she did was wrong. So it's a horse race. I'm predicting a hung jury, by the way. I've been predicting that on television. I'm not looking for any crystal ball awards, but I think you may see that because it's the kind of case where 6 people could see it one way and 6 people could see it the other way.
I think she's going to be sentenced to, she's going to be institutionalized.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do. I agree with you, Rob.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Have a glorious rest of your week, my friend. Thanks for being on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Yeah, I haven't talked about that case because it's heartbreaking, and I just don't feel like it's my business. I don't feel like it's my business, that I don't need to be talking about it, so. Anyway, South Dakota needs huge snow melts from Canada and Montana. The Missouri River is low. Is it really? Fauci's partner spilling the beans on the bastard. Yeah, I didn't have that. Sorry about that. I just saw it. Oh, my goodness. Sullivan, there you go. Sullivan got it. You're in Canada. I forgot about that. Thank you. Sportec, you're in Canada, aren't you? Oh, I had a pretty good night's sleep. How about you guys? I woke up at 2:30. I was like, yes, it's 2:30. And then I slept till 5. And I'm like, oh, no. And so I took another half a little sleep med, then slept till like 7. It was a little disrupted last night. Like you care. Let me look up something here real quick. Besant. What's he saying here? 38. Oh, here we go.
Better than anybody. It can help make that.
It's time for me to talk. All right, kids. Hello, Kathy Delman. I can feel your prayers, by the way. My energy went up when you guys started praying for me. It really did. It's pretty amazing. We really did. I had a great workout on Saturday and really strong. I'm going to get rid of this troll. All righty, time for me to talk. All righty. So Scott Bessent had a presser this morning talking about Iran, among other things. We are basically doing economic Armageddon on Iran. And here, by the way, let me start again. Here is Scott Bessent talking about our actions and warning other states who want to help about Iran.
Any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the U.S. dollar system.
Whoa!
The clock just started ticking.
Wow.
The new sectoral sanctions determinations issued today target 5 of Iran's most vital lifelines that it exploits in other countries.
Wow.
Digital assets, technology, gold, aviation, and shipping. These measures broaden secondary sanctions risk for anyone foolish enough to continue conducting business with this regime.
Wow, that is showing people who the boss is here. Here he is going after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Want Canada to become a state. He did say that they're getting all the benefits of being a state without being one.
I think he would like Canada to come to the table and negotiate in good faith. They were offered quite a good deal last week. They chose to reject it.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately, Prime Minister Carney rose to power on an anti-American, anti-Trump platform.
Wow.
I believe he was more than 20 points behind. And, he seems to have gone back to his old playbook. And I think one has to ask oneself, is he trying to benefit himself, the Liberal Party, or the Canadian people? Because they were offered a very good job.
Yeah, there you go. So not messing around. I like the cut of his jib. I think he's doing an outstanding job as the Treasury Secretary. He's pretty amazing guy. I'm going to ask Gordon Chang next hour about some things that we're doing around the world. Ford adding thousands of jobs in the United States as the move away from China continues. Yeah. So the economy of China not doing so well. The American economy pretty much kind of kicking butt and taking names. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to play any more of the Scott Besant, but this is going to be a major part of it. And, you think about it, we've only been in active combat situation with them, I think, 6-7 weeks. No, actually close probably to 9 weeks altogether. The rest has been in ceasefire or the memorandum of understanding, and I think this is going to do them in. I really, really do. I hope it is, and I hope and pray for and I will dance with my Persian brothers and sisters when the IRGC collapses. How's that sound? All right, we've got that coming up on the other side of the break, the other side of the top of the hour. Also, Hassan Piker makes fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And Puerto Ricans say to Democrats, you want to add us as a state. We don't want to become a state. So there's that. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
Hold it now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Iran now faces a very clear choice with only two paths before them. Complete global isolation and a subsistence economy, or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy. Today we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose every other option available to the Iranian regime.
Wow, that is something else. I've never witnessed anything like this before, to be quite honest. I mean, I pay attention to things, but this is the most powerful. You got the most powerful engine of individual and economic freedom in the history of mankind over here, and then you've got what's left of Iran. How well do you suppose it's going to end well with Iran? It's not going to end well for them. Hope and pray that the Iranian people will be free. They will be free. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to some other stuff. We got some interesting things happening. We got these DSA candidates. We discovered from Anna Paulina Luna they are bought and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. This is not an organic movement whatsoever. It's not gaining traction. It's gaining people who are being paid to spew its nonsense. That's basically it. There is also no such thing as a moderate Democrat. This is what Anna Paulina Luna says about the Democrat Party.
But I think nationally what we are seeing and what everyone needs to pay attention to is there's no such thing as a moderate Democrat. As you saw in these Democrat primaries, the moderate Democrats are being poached by organizations like DSA, and the funding mechanisms behind it are 100% China. Yeah,
100% China. There's nothing organic about it. And listen, you've got people openly espousing single-payer socialized medicine. That has failed every time it's tried. And they're acting like it's something that has never been heard before. I was thinking about this, when you're a toddler, your toddler comes in and maybe has a recent discovery that, I'm Superman, I could jump off the house. And you look at the kid and go, I wouldn't do that if I were you because, when I was a kid, I tried the same thing. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but you kind of get it. They think, oh, hey, here's something new. Let's try it. Oh, here's something new. And then, when you get to a certain age, you realize that you're listening to nonsense. And it's kind of cool, actually, when you have enough experience in your life, like I have. And, I'm... just turned 60, and I've seen this tried before several times, and it didn't work. My first year in broadcasting, it was 1989, and the Berlin Wall fell. I watched the waning months of the failure that was the former Soviet Union, and then watched it fall. And I saw China do the opposite and just murder everybody and continue their domination of their people, doing the opposite of what communist China or opposite of what the Soviet Union did. We've seen it fail again and again and again. If you know anything about Cuba, you go into a Cuban grocery store for the people. The shelves are empty. People get an allotment. I think it's either 1 pound of rice and 5 pounds of beans, or 1 pound of beans and 5 pounds of rice, which sounds a lot like what they're doing in New York City. There's going to be 30 staple items in Zoran Mondami's grocery stores that you'll get for 30% off. It sounds Soviet, doesn't it? Doesn't it just sound Cuban? It just sounds Cuban. But, Zoran Mondami is a man-child who's never had a real job, and he thinks he's presenting something that has never been tried before, and it has, and it always, always, always fails. Absolutely 100%. Here is got a couple things here. Byron Donalds put together his campaign, put together a little montage about this David Jolly guy who's distancing himself in Florida from Angie Nixon, who is a Democrat socialist. She's so stupid that she just joined the Democrat Socialists of America. That's how stupid she is. Did I mention she's stupid? Yeah. And so Byron Donalds, wanted to assure everyone that just because he's separating himself from Angie Nixon doesn't mean he's not a radical. And I want you to listen to this in his own words.
I'm David Jolly, and I approve this message because I want you to hear straight from me where I stand.
I've moved pretty far left. I've moved pretty far left.
Who cares about some of the finer points of the Second Amendment?
We just have to crush the culture of gun ownership.
I think we need...
Did you hear that? That's anti-Second Amendment.
Dramatic, ambitious gun control laws in the United States.
Wow.
Will you limit the use of fossil fuels?
Yes, 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 and yes.
Wow.
I think we need to greatly constrict our school choice program.
Wow.
Let's return to a state university system that believes in diversity and equity and inclusion.
The reality is Jesus is a loving God who would support the trans community.
We embraced it. We sought the right pathways, the medical pathways, the gender-affirming care.
Wow.
It can be supportive of them to allow them to play in youth sports.
Why aren't we talking about expanding access to the younger generation and to disparate populations to be able to vote electronically or digitally?
Yeah.
We can secure a single vote by allowing them to do it digitally or on their phone.
Wow.
I don't have a proposal to eliminate property taxes.
Yeah. He is as left can be. You just heard from Anna Paulina Luna. There are no centrist Democrats. What about John Fetterman? No, he's not a centrist Democrat. He might agree with you on a few things, but he's pretty left. He's pretty far left. He's just not completely insane. This is kind of interesting. Stephen Turley posted a Democrat voter talking about the Democrat Party. And you know what, I told you that 80% of us believe the country was headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us believe we could come together to save her. And I think what we're doing is we're seeing the beginning of the denouement, which is the peak and then the decline of this DSA movement. I know, and you're like, Robbie is going to take over and they're going to rule us. No. You know why? Are you planning on voting? Yeah. Okay. There you go. We're not going to let them win. We have no time. I hate this. I hate it when Republicans go, oh, I don't know if we can. I hope we can. Shush. Grow some. Dear God, we've been through 10 years of this nonsense. Being told that we can't share our opinions online, watching the southern border be wide open, watching our kids' lives destroyed by COVID nonsense, COVID protocols, and I can go on and on and on and on. We've had enough. We're not about ready to let these jackweeds win. But here's a Democrat voter, and then Stephen Turley's comments afterwards.
I've been a lifelong Democrat, and I'm 72 years old, 72-year-old white male. And I've been a Democrat my whole life. This past primary in Ohio, I went and asked for the Republican ballot, which makes me a Republican now. There's many reasons for that. But if I could just be philosophical for just a minute, and thank you again for taking my...
You could save your party if you kick out the leadership of your party and the DSA. You can get back to common sense, Democrats. Because here's the only difference between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats believe in a strong central government. Republicans believe in states' rights. There's a balance between the two. But your party has gone lunatic, socialist, and communist.
This chicken, this Democratic Socialist movement, this chicken has been coming home to roost for a long time.
Yeah. And Bernie Sanders has been pushing this crap for 40 years.
You have to go back to the source of what's going on. 35 or 40 years ago, the Democrats and Republicans together decided that they were going to shovel every job that they could shovel offshore they did.
They did.
And the ones that weren't bolted down, they shipped first, and then they unbolted the rest of them and shipped the rest of them.
Yeah, do you remember when American Made meant something? When I was growing up, they had commercials with, look for the Union label, Made in America was a big deal. Do you think Made of America when you go on Amazon? No. No, this is what Donald Trump is bringing back to the country. Making it is important, not just buying it.
If you're a young person in this country, we don't make any textiles. We don't make any electronics. We don't make hardly any cars. We don't make hardly any pharmaceuticals. And so you've got a lot of young people who are seeing this wage gap. And by the way, I'm a Republican, and you're seeing this income gap. And so essentially they're fair game for this movement.
Yeah.
They see this movement as an opportunity, if not to gain back some credibility or some life, a better life. They look at it as a way to burn the system down.
Now, that was brilliant. That was one of the most articulate breakdowns of what's happening inside the Democrat Party that you're going to hear from an ordinary voter.
Now, the only sympathy I have for some of these Democrat socialists is that they were sold a bill of goods by higher education. And you've got kids who owe $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in student debt, and they will have no chance to ever pay that back. If you start off out of school with a entry-level job and a $500,000 in college debt, you will suffer your entire life financially. You will. You'll never have a house. You'll never have a new car. It's dreadful. And what I would suggest, they're suggesting a 2% interest rate on student loans. I would suggest that there is a class action lawsuit against these irresponsible universities who would allow kids to become so far in debt. And you can say all you want. You know, when you were in college, you were a kid. You made a lot of mistakes. You did a lot of stupid crap. You know, you don't think about that. They signed the paper. I know that. But I'm not without compassion for some. Not the crazies who want to embrace communism, but the kids who graduated with worthless degrees, sold a bill of goods by advisors that lied to them, and they did. They want to keep kids in college as long as possible. That's a Chevalier dipwad in New York. She's been in college 12 years. That's irresponsible on the college's part. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which...
Poor little Democrats. Are you guys okay today? I came in to check on you. Every time Trump does something good, you guys spaz out. Would you guys shut up and let him work?
So, Chris Van Hollen tried a little stand-up comedy yesterday.
I've been kicking the tires as I look at 2028 because I don't think the Democratic Party has answered the call about how we're going to make sure we have an economy that really does work for everybody, especially working people.
You've been kicking the tires on 2028, meaning you're thinking about running for president in 2028?
I'm kicking the tires, meaning I've been to New Hampshire. I was invited to go there. I was invited to go out to Iowa last summer. I think there's a great deal of churning within the Democratic Party, and I support that. As I said, I think we need this healthy debate because I don't think Democrats have put forward a clear alternative to the Trump administration.
Oh, no kidding.
So bottom line, you're mulling a potential run in 2028.
Bottom line, I think Democrats need to be very clear, not just what we're against, but what we're for. And I'm very much want to be part of that debate, and I am kicking the tires.
All right, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Oh, my God. You're not likable enough. You are a hackneyed political veteran. You are a member of the establishment. You have no ideas. That's why you haven't offered any ideas. And any ideas you come up for the economy will pale by comparison to the ideas of Donald Trump, who is a true capitalist, who has gotten rid of 2 regulations for every new one proposed, who closed the southern border and is bringing back, pushing $20 trillion in investment into America. Wages are up. Inflation is down. You had 4 years with Joe Biden and you nearly destroyed the bloody country. Don't waste your time. You're not likable. You're not particularly intelligent. You like having margaritas with gang members. You sided with illegal aliens over American citizens. I mean, laughable. Laughable. The Democrat bench is I don't about as deep as the imprint of my flat-soled shoes. Honestly, on granite. Yeah. So that's about as deep as they are. Unbelievable. Over the weekend, very good friend of this Abdul Al-Sayed, Hassan Piker, who showed up at the rally for Abdul Al-Sayed the night before he barely won his election to be a senatorial candidate from the state of Michigan. He's a radical, dangerous communist. And here he is on stage during his Fear and Live tour. Now, this is a tour that is built not on good humor, but on hatred, on communism, on violence. The people who attend these are hateful and awful people. They aren't funny. They're not good-hearted at all. When you go to a conservative rally, they're always that. They're always funny and good-hearted. Yesterday when I was down at the big 250 Grand Prix, nothing but joy. Nothing but joy, striking up conversations with everyone. I met an aide in the senator from the state of Wisconsin, Ron Johnson's office. Met him, slapped his back, shook hands, all that. Met people on the street, just striking up conversations. We were standing up in the window of the art museum, the modern art museum, so we could look down and see the track. And you could tell they were all conservatives. There were MAGA hats everywhere. Democrats didn't show up for the race. They would have ruined it. They would have won and had a bunch of EVs or something stupid like that. But it was just joyous. Unlike this group, the Fear and Live tour. Here he is, Hassan Piker, making fun of the murdered father, husband, good and decent man, Charlie Kirk.
Unafraid to die.
They're mocking and ridiculing a man who had his throat blown out by an assassin's bullet. His children will never know their father. They sound demonic, don't they?
Together unbroken.
listen to them howl up from the pits of hell. Really nice. Here's what they were making fun of. This song, and I'm not sure if this is AI or not, but this is what they were making fun of.
A husband, a father, his family held near, a home built on scripture, on faith without fear. The world tried to silence, but his voice remains. Innocent echoes in Christ it sustains. We are Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that's what they were making fun of. If you're betting down with that philosophy or going to that event, you are betting down with evil. This is Hassan Piker before Charlie Kirk was murdered. Now, all of the F-bombs are bleeped. I'm just going to tell you. But he did drop a bunch, and I had to edit them all out.
What about Democratic mayors? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? We're fucking talking about socialized medicine, and you fucking turn around and you fucking ask a question about murderous cities and their Democratic mayors. I want to fucking kill him, dude.
He said, I want to kill him, talking about Charlie Kirk. Then he backtracks.
I want to kill.
In a video game.
I meant it's just not in a video game setting. I wanna own him in a video game setting. Oh Jesus! Okay. In a video game.
Yeah.
In a debate, I want to kill him in a debate in Minecraft.
There you go. Yeah, there.
Hassan Piker is an evil, demonic man. Abdul Al-Sayed is a charlatan. He is a liar. He wants Sharia and he wants communism. And they're both going to disappear into the dust bin of history because we're going to send them there. Taking a break, Gordon G. Chang coming up next. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and B, that you can trust it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, including mine, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years of doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I can still move furniture, I can still ride my mountain bike, I can still lift heavy weights, and Relief Factor makes all of those tasks pain-free for me. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us too. Again, ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF. Hey guys, it's Carson for Ghost Bed. You may not remember every time you toss, turn, or wake up hot, but your body does. That's why you wake up tired before the day even starts. That's why I got a Ghost Bed, the best bed in the history of mankind. GhostBed is engineered to help reduce the reasons your sleep gets interrupted. GhostBed is designed to relieve pressure, help regulate temperature, support your body. Cooling technology built into every mattress and made in the USA. With GhostBed's 101 night trial, you can try it at home because the real test of a mattress is how you feel in the morning. If you're waking up sore or tired before the day even starts, check out GhostBed. For a limited time during GhostBed's Labor Day sale, they're offering my audience an extra 10% off their lowest prices of the season. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson.
FM in Harford County.
It is the Rob Carson Show, Monday edition, as we broadcast live from downtown Washington, D.C., a stone's throw from our nation's capital. If you could throw a stone about a mile and a half. And for the very first time on this here radio program, after many years of knowing this man, we have the one and only Gordon G. Chang on camera with us on the broadcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine, Rob. Thank you so much. And by the way,
yes.
Congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you, my friend. We're very proud of it, Gordon. Since I moved here, we've made top 10 for news and commentary, right behind Victor Davis Hanson. And for news, we're actually beating NBC Nightly News and Jen Psaki. Which I think probably drives her crazy, which is absolutely awesome. I saw you earlier talking about U.S.-China tensions flare over Taiwan. Why is this flaring up?
Essentially, Xi Jinping right now is really arrogant, and he doesn't think very much of the U.S. We know that because in May, when President Trump went to the Chinese capital, Xi Jinping went out of his way to try to humiliate both the president and the United States of America. I think that it's probably a reflection of problems inside the Chinese regime. We can see some symptoms of that. We don't really know, Rob, because the regime is now more opaque than it's been in a long time. So I'm doing a lot more guessing than I want to. But we can see that there are, I think, severe dislocations in the Communist Party at the top, especially in the military.
And it's not getting any easier with regard to what we're doing with Iran, because obviously Iran is where they get a good deal of their of the fuel to drive their war machine. And I'm sure that has impacted them greatly. I'm sure it certainly has an impact on inflation over there.
Yes, and certainly what we're seeing in Iran right now with Secretary Besant's Operation Economic Outcast and with the D-Day economic measures, I think that, talking about MS Now, I think that that network owes an apology to President Trump for saying that he lost the Iran war. I'm not saying that the president won the war, but to say that he's lost the war is absolutely wrong. What we're seeing today are the makings of a program that can bring the Iranian regime to its knees without firing a shot. What Secretary Bessent announced today is really magnificent. We got to see implementation, of course, but the point is this war is ongoing, and those harsh critics of the president who said that he's lost, I think they need to send apologies to the White House.
Well, they started on day one. They started on day one when the Ayatollah was killed. On the first day, Chris, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the congressman, said it was an absolute failure. The Democrat Party and the media have been actively cheering against our military because they don't want the people of Iran to be free under Donald Trump's watch, so that he'll get the credit, the much due credit, for taking them down.
Yes, that's right. It was from day one. Now, I would have liked to have seen Operation Economic Forecast before the use of force. But, considering it all, the president is winning the war. This is not over. I'm not going to say he won the war. No. I don't think we can say that, because this is an ongoing struggle and Iran has not surrendered yet. But I can see the makings of a policy on the part of the White House that can lead to victory in this war in fairly short order.
Yeah. Here is a quote from Scott Bessent this morning.
Conducting business with this regime.
I assume that is a warning shot over China's bow as well.
Yes.
Yes. Wow.
What we have to look at is the Chinese banks, because they have been handling money on sanctioned transactions for a very long time. Bessent has been issuing a lot of warnings, and I believe it's time for the Treasury Secretary to actually start imposing costs instead of warning. Because, the Chinese are saying, oh, it's another warning from the Treasury Secretary. Yeah. But for instance, what he can do is impose the primary money laundering concerns sanctions under the USA Patriot Act. He can disconnect Chinese banks. Now, that was part of his announcement today. And the Treasury Secretary said, and this is reasonable, I don't agree with it, but it's reasonable, that he doesn't want to blow up the global financial system. The reason why I don't agree with him on this is because he's already issued a lot of warnings, so why issue any more? But, I mean, if he actually follows through, or if the Chinese banks get out of the business of laundering money for Iran, then that's great. And then the Treasury Secretary will have been right about that.
Yeah. I want to play something for you. Anna Paulina Luna was being asked about the Democrat Socialists of America. And I didn't feel that they were organic in any way, shape, or form, considering that we rejected the leftward lurch of the Democrat Party in 2024. But I want you to hear what she has to say.
Earlier this year, the Department of Justice announced that they have a full-fledged investigation and are convening a grand jury on an individual named Neville Roy Singham, who is a tycoon that is currently living in China that's been funneling over $780 million, Jason, that's a big number, into various political organizations, grassroots organizations that are ultimately working hand in hand with the Democrat Socialists. And I'd like to remind—
Now, he is $790 million of his own money. How much is that coming from the Chinese Communist Party?
I don't know the answer to that question, and there are other estimates that put that number lower at 591 million for 2017 to 2025.
But don't you suppose, would he be spending his own money? Would he be spending that kind of money to overthrow the United States? Or do you suppose, I think it's a, if you want to call it whatever revolution, color revolution, I think that's China's behind it. I think the Chinese Communist Party is behind it.
Oh, the Communist Party is definitely behind it. The one thing about Neville Roy Singham, he's a U.S. citizen. He's got a First Amendment right. But what he doesn't have is he doesn't have the right to not register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. And he also doesn't have the right to put money, however much it is, into the global banking systems illicitly, because that's what he's been doing. So, whether it's his money or whether it's Communist Party money or a mixture of both, and it's probably a mixture of both, then clearly he has violated U.S. federal law. And it's great that the Justice Department is investigating him because, as you said, these protests are not entirely organic. Because we have clearly the Communist Party working with Singham, or Singham working with the Communist Party's United Front Work Department, which is the part of the ruling organization that subverts foreign governments. So Neville Roy Singham has a lot of Justice Department considerations to worry about now.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break and come back. More. Can you stick through the break, Gordon?
Of course. Love to.
I should never assume. Make sure to follow Gordon, Gordon G. Chang on X, Gordon G. Chang on X. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
And it's the Rob Carson Show. We, of course, are joined by Gordon Chang, Gordon G. Chang on Twitter. He's written a bevy of books, including Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Clearly, they are trying to do that, Gordon. They've not been as successful as I'm sure they would like to have been, and now they are suffering economically. You predicted the coming collapse of China in one of your books as well. You said that China's kind of giving us some trouble on Taiwan. You think part of that is because we're distracted by Iran?
Part of it is. The important point here is that Xi Jinping, he's got an opportunity. So, for instance, the George Washington Carrier Strike Group has left East Asia and is now in the Middle East. There's no U.S. Carrier Strike Group in East Asia right now. That is an enormous opportunity for China. But fortunately for us, Xi Jinping doesn't trust his generals and admirals. And his military is not ready to launch an invasion of the main island of Taiwan. But that doesn't mean we're safe. And by no means are we safe, because Xi Jinping has engaged in these very provocative activities. One of them can blow up into a crisis which they can't solve in Beijing because they can't act constructively. So they can't de-escalate. So I do worry about the region being a little bit bare right now of the U.S. military assets.
Yeah. This campaign against data centers, is this the Chinese Communist Party trying to stay ahead of us and convincing American politicians that these are bad to stop the forward progress and the possibility of us outpacing them when it comes to these?
Yes, well, clearly the protests are not entirely organic. Now, people have legitimate complaints that they just don't want these things in their neighborhood. But these protests are not entirely organic, because we know that, for instance, Neville Roy Singham has been funding anti-data center protests in the U.S. through, for instance, Code Pink. Code Pink is one of the core groups that he funds. Core Pink was co-founded by Jody Evans, who just happens to be Neville Roy Singham's wife.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Ford adds thousands of jobs in the United States as move away from China continues. Ford is expanding production of the Lincoln vehicles in the United States, adding thousands of jobs, reducing reliance on Chinese imports. The whole tariff thing, build your stuff here and we'll get rid of tariffs, is really starting to gain some ground here and bear some fruit. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yes. There's no question about that. The numbers say that. People, and you'll see this on TV, complain about the tariffs raising costs to consumers. You will not hear the critics of President Trump talk about how China has decimated American industry. And we would eventually become a Chinese colony with no factories if we don't have these tariffs. So we need to have a conversation in public about manufacturing coming back. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because the White House talks about it, but nobody picks up that narrative, or very few people pick up that narrative. And we need to talk about it, because this is American workers, American companies, American communities. They've been devastated by the Chinese, and someone needs to protect them. And, thank God President Trump believes in tariffs.
We're seeing a great awakening, and I think we're going to see a move away from the higher education model that we've been following, where students get worthless degrees, owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I mean, it is ungodly. It is ungodly that a university system would allow someone to graduate at 22 years old with $300,000 or $400,000 in student debt. How are you going to get ahead in your life?
Yeah, and there's no question about that. And if they're getting a science or a technology or a business degree, that's one thing, because you then have the means to pay it off eventually. But this student loan program has allowed universities to load up on DEI administrators and a lot of other worthless positions, and students get worthless degrees because you got a gender study degree. What are you going to do with it? I mean, so that is a scandal, of course.
I did plenty of female gender studying when I was in college. It wasn't really a class, though. Let me ask you this, Gordon Chang. I saw this story the other day. 83 colleges and 26 schools act as a pipeline for China's regime. New report from Defending Education has identified at least 83 universities, 26 K through 12 schools across 30 states that expose their students to Chinese Communist Party propaganda through the Young Envoy Scholarship Program. How do you suppose Betsy DeVos is handling this? And obviously, we need to do something about it.
we need to do something about it. And we also have something like 500 Confucius classrooms in the United States.
Yes.
So there's a lot of these Chinese programs that have infiltrated our secondary school system. I don't know if it's a priority for the Department of Education, but clearly somebody in the federal government needs to start getting these programs out of our country.
Yeah, it's the little red classrooms, China's infiltration of American K through 12 schools, and we've seen it in American industry. We've seen it in there was a building right across from the White House that a Chinese billionaire has just purchased, and he is a former, I guess, military sniper. Did you hear about that story?
Yes. I can understand why the Chinese want a building with line of sight to the White House compound. The story here, Rob, is not the Chinese. The story here is, how did the FBI, CIA, and Secret Service allow this to happen? Among the three of those agencies, you'd think that somebody would have stopped this. Now the issue is making sure that we get that building back one way or another.
100%. I agree. Couldn't believe it more. Gordon Zhang, thank you so much. Great to have you on. Great to have you on camera for the very first time. I appreciate all you do for the show, and your expertise is invaluable. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Rob. And I'm so happy to be on your show. So thank you.
Very good, sir. Gordon G. Chang on X. That's Gordon G. Chang on X. Let's take a break and come back to the Rob Carson Show.
Here's the deal. The government
Hello, kids. How are ya? I'm a little tired. Get a little yawny here, but I'm okay. I'm going to take a little nap and then write my TV show. Proud to be a Jew. Hello. Hello, Sportech. Hello, Whiskey Tango. You couldn't hear me when? You hear me now? Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. I thought Gordon was great, actually. I really enjoyed having him on today. It's the first time I've had him on the camera. Redneck MacGyver Kid is getting it done, man. We are getting it done. We are big time. Scott Davies, hello. Can a senior get a student loan? I don't know. Taylor Sheridan spells it out in Lioness episode 4. I haven't watched Lioness. I hear it's really good. Of course, it's not fun to binge watch television by yourself. It's not fun. American Coffee Drinker. I like that name. I drink about 32 to 40 ounces of coffee a day. Not as much as I used to. I used to do the big 44-ounce cup at 7-Eleven, fill it with coffee and ice. I haven't changed that much, but not as much. Yeah, naps are good. I know that. You know what? The best nap is 15 minutes. I'm not kidding. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hello, Brian Debbie. Hello, Pranay Ubrachat. Good to see you there, guys. All right, I got to talk.
Yeah, 345.
Digging.
Medical ratings negative. That looks like Democrats.
We'll put that P right there. Party white non-college trusts more on the economy. Look at this. It's Republicans plus 16 points. Republicans are still trusted more on the economy.
Yeah, because Joe Biden blew it, and every time a Democrat is in office, they blow it.
And this gets back to what I'm saying.
I'm not talking about Bill Clinton in the Oval Office.
Hang here. What is this? What is this? Hold on. It's not a, give me this. It's not a question mark. It's an exclamation point. It's an exclamation point from Kate, my producer. Everyone sucks. Everyone sucks. Everybody sucks. That's what's going on here. Everybody sucks. And you can see this right here. Look at the inflation. Look at the inflation. Which party do white non-college voters trust more in inflation? Despite Trump's absolutely devastating decline, going down to what was that, a 60-point switcheroo? On inflation, the Republican Party is still trusted more.
There you go. So CNN data shows Democrat net favorability among white non-college voters. Hillbillies, by the way, we call those hillbillies. You got your Hebrews, your hillbillies, and your homeboys. And those are the ones who are going to come together to save America. They trust the Republicans more on the economy. You know why? Because those people, non-college educated, are mostly affected by, bringing manufacturing back to the country and lowering taxes, etc. Yeah, that's kind of good. That's Harry Hinton. That's old Harry Hinton there, by gosh. So there you go. Yeah, Democrats suck at the economy. They just suck at the economy. Did you hear about Enos Kanter Freedom going to a WNBA game? And he was wearing a shirt supporting women's sports without men performances. Woman, noun, adult, human, female, and apparently he was at this game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, and he was confronted by a player. Here's a little audio from that. I had dinner with Enos Kanter Freedom just a couple weeks ago, right across from the Capitol.
6-point basketball game. Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after
Natasha Cloud decided to go over and confront this guy who's 6'9" and played in the NBA for like 11 years. Yeah, good luck with that.
Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enos Kanter in the building today.
He was booted out of there, and somebody asked the other day, what does the W in WNBA stand for? And I said, lesbians. In Toronto, they've announced a new mascot for a WNBA team who's non-binary and he has she and they pronouns. It's nice to see a woke organization self-immolate. God bless you guys. You are the absolute best. God bless Americans. Founded Donald Trump. Our troops in Iran fighting the evil of Iran. God bless the people of Iran. Until tomorrow, do not catch the stupid. I love you guys. See ya.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.